I don't care what they tell you, what they told you, what they're saying. You do not need to have a whole phase. Hola, hola, hola a todos. Es tu prima favorita, Bobby here. Welcome to mi canal. Welcome to my channel. If you are new here, if you are not new here, welcome back. I am tu prima favorita, Bobby, and I just like to talk. And today I want to run my mouth about the hoe phase. I hope I can say that on YouTube. We'll see. If you don't know what the hoe phase is, you've been living under a rock, or you just have been so protected that you wouldn't have to hear about this stuff or have people trying to push that on you or tell you that you needed to have it. The whole phase is just what it sounds like. It's a phase where you go out and if you're a guy, you soy your royal oats, and if you're a girl, you go live it up and do whatever you want to do because you're free and you're unattached and you're wild. It's usually what people tell you to do when you're younger, especially when you're first going off to college. That was something that people kept telling me when I was getting ready to go off to university, and I thought it was so crazy because I'm like, you have people that were like, yeah, go off, prosper, focus on your books, but also like get involved in things and have fun and sign up for things, get to know people, whatever. And then there were other people who not even thinking about my education and what it is that I was going there for, but they're like, when you get out there, go wild, like go crazy, get it out of your system. And I didn't do that. Not that that's any of y'all's business, but I just always thought that it was funny that it's like, I'm a young person who's going off to pursue higher education to do better for my life, and the main thing that some people were telling me was go have a whole phase. And it was like, thanks, no, no. And nothing against anybody who has done that. If that's something that's working for you in your life, then this video is not for you. This is strictly my opinion, mi opinion. You don't have to agree with it. But this is just me giving this opinion from my standpoint as a person who is a young woman who was pushed that narrative that that's something that I should do and get out of my system, who saw girls go through those phases or have those phases or try to have those phases, and who also works with a lot of young girls and has certain conversations, some of them pertaining to, you know, their bodies and things like that. And who just cares, right? This is my opinion, and in my opinion, you do not need one. And there are several reasons why. I didn't really number them off, but I'm just gonna talk off the dome because I'm tu prima favorita and I just like to talk. So I'm gonna just say you don't need it because what for, right? And again, I'm saying this from my opinion. And then also, if that is something that you feel like is working for you, that's where you are in life right now, that's totally fine. But I do not believe that we need to tell young girls that that is something that they need to do, or young women that that is something that they need to do. I think that we are seeing all of the ways that that has come back to bite us, that this over-sexualization, be it from men, be it from the rap industry, and ultimately be it from ourselves, trying to set us up in this over-sexualization, this let's take it back and let's own it and let's have this sexual liberation. And we are starting to see that crash in our faces. We are starting to see the downside of that more so than we ever had seen it before. And anybody with eyes could have told you that it was coming, right? And I am not one of those people who are like, yeah, women shouldn't do it, but men should. I don't believe that anybody should. I don't believe that is something that anybody needs to go off into experience, right? I also am one of those people who believe that if you're just going around and you're just having a bunch of meaningless sex and flings and spreading your energy and your intimate energy amongst all of these people, that is something that depletes you. Now, you don't have to agree with me. Again, if this video is not for you, it's not for you. I got some other videos that you can go watch and you can enjoy and do what you need to do. But spreading that energy like that is not helpful to you. That is draining. Your sexual energy is something that is powerful. Your energy in general is something that is power, and it's something that you can hone in to do a bunch of other things. And I think that that's another thing that's kind of important to understand And it kind of makes me think of how when, let's say if you are an athlete and you're like gearing up for a big like match or game or whatever the case that's coming up, you'll hear, or I've heard a lot of dudes that are like, yeah, I haven't, you know, coach told me not to, you know, be with me, or, you know, pound the turkey or whatever the case may be, or to not have intercourse or whatever, to hold in that energy or that testosterone or whatever the case may be, so that it can build up, so that you can have more focus, have more energy, have more testosterone or whatever it is that you need for this game or this fight or this match or this, I don't know, speech or whatever the case may be. And then I know that we used to have a mentor when we were younger, and he would always tell us about like not getting caught up in the ways of this world. Yes, we were some Bible-toting kids for some time, and nothing against that, I'm just saying. So not falling into the ways of this world, which included not falling into that whole phase rhetoric, not falling into going out there and just being reckless with your body, because there was so much more that we could be putting our mind and our energies into that would make us so much powerful. If you can take that sexual energy that you have, and instead of just willy-nilly spreading it across the globe or giving it to anybody just because it's something to get out of your system, you can put that into your purpose, you can put that into your passion, you can put that energy somewhere else, and you could see it benefit you or come back and give you all the desires of your heart. Right? So that's one of the big reasons why I'm like, no, people just want to say like, it's just sex and it's nothing and whatever the case may be. And I'm like, maybe you're the special snowflake where that works for, but for most of us, that's not how that works. That's not how that happens. That's not how that functions. And so yeah, you don't need a whole face. Another thing, and I kind of touched on this before, but another big reason why I don't think that that's something that you need to have, especially for women, is I go back to the downfall of the sexual liberation of women, right? That we're seeing the other side to that. But not only just that, it's when you look at a lot of these OF models, I don't know, these OF models who are now seeing the other side of this, and how it's kind of, I don't want to say blowing up in their faces, but how it's like they can't live a regular life now, right? Or if they're wanting to pursue a different career or wanting to get married or have children or whatever the case may be, this is something that's going to stick with them forever. And that's not to say that if you have a whole phase, it's something that's going to stick with you forever, because not everybody might know that you had that. You know, you could have had it in secret, but at the same time, it's like, do you really want that? Like, I don't want to say on your conscience, because if you're a type of person who can cut it and it just be done away with, or if you're the type of person who are like, that's in my past, then that's great. But I say that in a sense of like, you don't want to find out, like it shouldn't take that for you to find out, right? Does that make sense? I hope that that's making sense. I just don't see it panning out well. Like you get, I would imagine you would get an empty feeling from it, because it's like you've given yourself so much, so intimately to all of these different people, that when it comes time for you to really be able to be in a space where you can give yourself, it might not be as easily done. You might not be able to trust this person because you're thinking, oh, they might just be another fling like everybody else. Or you might not be able to trust yourself because you've done so much and just been willy-nilly and free with your body that it disables you from being able to have a real connection with somebody, because you've given that energy up so many times. Another reason why I'm going to say that you only down whole phase, and one of the biggest reasons too, is it's not healthy and it's not sanitary, right? And I mean, you can throw, oh, well, people get tested and da-da-da-da-da, and I'm like, you can say that, but I think that it's pretty clear that is not by far and large people's first thing to do when they're just out here being young and reckless, young, dumb, and full of cum, that they're like, oh, what's your test scores look like? Tests as far as being tested for STIs and STDs and such, right? A lot of people end up finding out later because you're like, well, I don't expect this person to put me in danger that way. But there are a lot of people out here who are careless and reckless with their body, and they might not be putting you in danger on purpose, but because they're careless with their body, they're not going to care more for yours. So if you are out here doing, you know, those things or having a whole phase or whatever the case may be, at least be out here asking people to go get tested and let you see it before you decide to hop into bed with them. But I really do think that realistically, by far and large, college kids are not doing that, right? Not, you know, by the masses. Some of them are, don't get me wrong. But I just don't think that there is. And then to hear all these people, like, I was surprised to hear how many people really are out here having unprotected intercourse. And even me as an adult, it's like, of course I knew that there were people, but I'm just like, when I hear some people's like stories or whatever, whether they're talking about their past or whether they're talking about right now, and I'm just like, y'all really just be out here relying on faith and the pull-out method, and that's crazy to me. That's so crazy. Very, very interesting, to be completely honest. And I just had no idea. I'm like, wow, like y'all all out here just raw dog. Like, okay, that's very interesting. I didn't necessarily need to know that, but it's very interesting to know. But again, I say that to say that I don't think people by far and large are out here asking people to see their test results upon the first time, right? Because let's be realistic. A lot of times when you are sharing that intimate space or intimate moment with somebody, it just kind of happens. It's the moment, it's getting hot and heavy, and you looking good, they looking good, the lights low, the mood's just right, the music is playing, the stars are beaming, the moon is shining, like, and the wolves get the howling, and there it is, you know. And it's like, when are you asking for test results, right? Were you asking for them at dinner? Were you asking for them when y'all was in the club? Were you asking for them like after they kissed you? Or did you not think about it until the morning after and then just kind of brush it off? Like, so it's just, realistically speaking, and you have to be careful. Like, the one thing that you have on this earth that is yours, for real yours, that no one can take away from you, is your body, right? That is the one thing that you come into this world with, and that's the last thing that you have any type of interaction with when you leave this world. And so it's not, having a whole phase is not healthy for your body in general. It's not healthy for your mind. It's not healthy to get yourself intimately attached to all of these different people. It's not healthy for you to get emotionally attached to these people, because I'm just gonna be honest with you, some people be saying like, oh, it's just this, it's just that, but now you wondering why you can't leave several of these people alone, and you're just saying, oh, it's just because the intercourse is good. It's like, no, you have an emotional attachment to that person, and that's okay, but you can't be out here trying to say that it's one thing when it's absolutely not. Like, you are attaching yourself to that person. If you want to call it a soul tie, if you want to call it an intimate connection, if you want to call it a cord, whatever the case may be, and y'all, you can roll your eyes at me and say I'm one of those woo-woo crystal girls or whatever the case, but I do not believe that you can share something so intimate with someone such as your body and walk away scot-free. Like, you can feel like you have, and maybe ultimately or majorly, like, you haven't been able to develop a type of connection with them, but y'all still have some type of connection or energetic exchange because y'all did have that intimate moment with each other. But that brings me back to just protecting your body. Like, again, I am not nobody's mom or whatever the case may be, so at the end of the day, do what it is that you want to do, but be responsible. Like, respect yourself and respect your body. If you do decide that that's something that works for you or something that you want to try or whatever the case may be, like, be responsible. Your body is the only thing that you really have that's truly yours. And when you give that away to somebody else, whether it's just intercourse or whatever the case may be, you're giving them access into something that is so precious and something that should be so protected. Like, your body protects you on the daily. Like, we're talking about something that heals itself to keep you alive. We're talking about something that when you go to sleep at night, your body continues to do its job to make sure that you as an organism, as a being, is still alive. And the least you can do is just make sure you're being safe with it. And there are so many people out here being reckless with it. So many people out here being reckless with other people's body, being reckless with their wounds or with other people's wounds. And it's just like, don't throw yourself into that. Don't feel like you have to do that. And I'm very grateful that when people would tell me that, I would just look at them sideways, like, and just be like, okay, cool, like, thanks for that tip or whatever the case may be. But I'm like, no, for what? Like, that's not something I want to do. I didn't leave my home to go 4 or 5 hours away to college thinking, oh, I'm finna wild out and have me a whole phase. That was the last thing that was on my mind, right? And also, I was just trying to get the hell up out of the, just get out of there, just get out of the house. Oldest daughter, if you know, you know. So it was just crazy to me that it's like, your first thought is to tell me that versus to tell me to go out there and make something of myself. But anyway, I take it back to the main conversation that you don't need to have that. And especially if that's not something that you genuinely want to do, again, make your own choices, but don't feel the need to do it because people are telling you that, or people are telling you that you need to go ahead and get it out of your systems. You do not need to do anything but go to school for what you're going to school for. I do agree that you should put yourself in different clubs and organizations and other things that interest you, because going to school, just going to school and not really being involved in anything else, I'm not saying that you can't do it, but it will not be as fun as if you do put yourself in situations where you are pursuing other passions or other interests in meeting people, making friends, getting out of your dorm room, and all types of that type of stuff. But as far as having a whole phase, you don't need to have one. And if you find yourself in one, really do take some time to sit and think, is that where you want to be, right? Think about it. Do you feel good when you're doing that? Think about, what purpose is it really serving? Are you trying to fill a void? Do you need to go to the on-campus therapist? Do you need to make an appointment? Or is it something that you just genuinely are like, I'm enjoying just rocking the headboards, you know, whatever the case may be, because maybe that is what you need. And, you know, whatever, I'm not gonna say it is what you need, because I don't agree with that at all, but you know, maybe that is something that's working for you. But I will just say, like, make your decisions wisely, especially when it comes to your body. It is the only one that you have. You will never have another, and once it's gone, you will not get it back. So that is my take on the hoe phase. If you want a video that's going more into details with statistics and journal excerpts and books and all that type of stuff, I could do one of those too. But this is just me speaking right off the dome, tu prima favorita, hablando, porque that's what I like to do. But anyway, let me know what you think. Drop your comments down below. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Share your story if you feel comfortable, or share advice that you have to other people, or feel free to disagree with me and tell me why. That's totally fine too. Again, this is tu prima favorita, Bobby. Thank you for coming to my channel. Thank you for kicking it with me today in the Cousins Corner, and I will see you next time. Bye.